Admiral Sarah Chen gripped the armrests of her command chair as another explosion rocked the bridge. Red warning lights flashed across every screen. The main display showed what remained of Earth's defense fleet, and the sight made her stomach turn. 47 ships had stood against the Krell invasion just 12 hours ago. Now only 19 were still fighting. Another platform destroyed, Lieutenant Morrison reported from his station. His voice stayed calm, but his hands shook. That's Orbital Defense Platform 7. All guns silent, Sarah nodded slowly. She had watched each platform die, one after another. Giant structures that had taken years to build, gone in seconds under Krell fire. Each explosion meant hundreds of people dead. Each loss meant Earth was one step closer to complete destruction. The enemy fleet filled the space beyond Earth like a swarm of angry insects. 300 Krell warships, each one bristling with weapons. Their dark hulls absorbed light, making them look like holes in space. The Krell had conquered 17 star systems before coming to Earth. They crushed every resistance they found. They showed no mercy. Status of the Valiant? Sarah asked. Morrison checked his screen. Heavy damage. Captain Rodriguez says they can fight for maybe another hour. After that, their reactor will fail. Sarah closed her eyes for just a moment. The Valiant was one of their newest ships. If it was dying, the older vessels were probably in worse shape. She opened her eyes and studied the tactical display. Every ship she saw represented friends, people she had trained with, eaten with, laughed with. Now they were all going to die together. Admiral, incoming transmission from the Krell flagship, the communications officer said. Put it on screen. The display changed. Warlord Thexkar appeared, his 4 eyes gleaming with cold satisfaction. The Krell commander stood over 8 feet tall, his armored body covered in scars from 1,000 battles. He had earned each scar by destroying entire civilizations. Human Admiral, Thexkar said in perfect English. The Krell always learned the languages of those they conquered. It made the surrender demands more personal. Your resistance is entertaining but pointless. We have destroyed the Velen Confederation. We have crushed the Torth Empire. Your primitive fleet cannot stop us. Sarah stood up from her chair. She would not sit while facing this monster. Then why are you talking to me instead of fighting? Thexkar's mouth opened in what might have been a smile. His teeth looked sharp enough to cut metal. Because I am not wasteful. You have fought well for primitives. You have destroyed 7 of my ships. That is more than most species manage. I offer you one chance. Surrender now. Your people will become workers in the Dominion. Your soldiers will serve in our armies. You will live as slaves, but you will live. And if we refuse, then in 6 hours, nothing will remain of your species except dust and memories. We will burn your planet until the oceans boil. We will crack your moon into pieces. We will erase every trace that humans ever existed. Thexkar leaned closer to the camera. This is not a threat. This is a promise. I have done this before. I will do it again. Sarah felt the eyes of every person on the bridge watching her. Down on Earth, billions of people huddled in underground shelters hoping their military could save them. In the fleet, thousands of sailors waited for her decision. The weight of their lives pressed down on her shoulders like a physical force. I need to consult with Earth's government, Sarah said. You have 6 hours, not 1 second more. The transmission ended. The bridge stayed silent for a long moment. Then Morrison spoke up. Admiral, we could evacuate some people. The colony ships in lunar orbit could hold maybe 1 million people. We could send them away, hope they find somewhere safe. And abandon 8 billion others? Sarah shook her head. No, we fight. Ma'am, with respect, we cannot win this fight. Their fleet is too large. Our weapons barely scratch their shields. Sarah walked to the main viewport. Earth hung below them, blue and beautiful. She could see the lights of cities, dimmed now to reduce targeting options. She could see the clouds swirling over oceans where she had learned to swim as a child. Every person down there was counting on her to save them, and she had no idea how. I know we cannot win, Sarah said quietly. But we can make them pay for every inch of space they take. We can show them that humans do not surrender. We can fight so hard that other species hear about it. Maybe somewhere someone else will learn from our example. Maybe our death will inspire others to resist. She turned back to face her crew. Send a message to all ships. We fight to the last. We make them remember us. We show the galaxy what humans are made of. Morrison saluted. Yes, ma'am. The next 5 hours passed in a blur of violence. The human fleet attacked in waves, using every tactic they knew. They rammed damaged ships into Krell vessels. They set traps in asteroid fields. They fired every missile, every torpedo, every bullet they had. The Krell fleet took losses, but it was like throwing stones at a mountain. For every Krell ship destroyed, Earth lost 3. The Valiant exploded at hour 4, taking a Krell destroyer with it. The Beijing went silent at hour 5. Its crew dead, but its reactors still burning, drifting through space like a tomb. The Mumbai tried to retreat with its engines damaged and was cut in half by Krell plasma fire. Sarah watched it all. She gave orders in a steady voice even as her heart broke. She coordinated the defense even knowing it was hopeless. She was still fighting when the 6-hour deadline arrived. Dexcar appeared on screen again. Your time is over, human. You chose death, so be it. All ships, target Earth's surface. Begin planetary bombardment. The Krell fleet moved into position, their weapons charged, ready to rain fire on the planet below. Sarah stood on her bridge waiting for the end. Then every sensor on every ship suddenly screamed warnings at the same time. Admiral, Morrison shouted. Contact. Unknown vessel just entered the system. Where? Show me. The tactical display updated. Something big had appeared at the edge of the battlefield, moving impossibly fast. It had just stopped, sitting in space like it was watching. Can you identify it? Sarah asked. Negative. Sensors cannot get a clear reading. It's like nothing in our database. It's not Krell, it's not Velen, it's not any known species. Sarah stared at the unknown contact. For the first time in hours, she felt something other than despair. She felt hope, tiny and fragile, but real. Try to hail them, she ordered. Morrison worked his controls. No response, ma'am. On the display, part of the Krell fleet broke away, 20 ships heading toward the unknown vessel. Dexcar's voice came over the command channel. Eliminate that contact. Nothing interferes with the Dominion. Sarah watched the Krell squadron approach the mysterious vessel. She held her breath. Then something impossible happened. The unknown vessel decloaked. The ship that appeared before them looked like nothing Sarah had ever seen. It was massive, easily twice the size of the largest Krell battleship. But size was not what made her stare. It was the design. The hull was covered in patches, repairs, and modifications. It looked like someone had been rebuilding the ship for centuries, adding pieces from a dozen different sources. Weapons bristled from every surface, but they were all different types, different styles, as if collected over a long journey. Strange symbols covered the armor plating. Sarah squinted at them, trying to make sense of what she saw. My God, Morrison whispered. Those markings. Some of them are in English. What? Sarah leaned forward. Show me a close-up. The screen zoomed in on the hull. Morrison was right. Among the strange alien symbols there were human letters, but something was wrong with them. Some were in languages Sarah recognized. Others looked ancient, like something from a museum. That section there, Morrison pointed. That's modern English. But that part over there, that looks like Old Chinese. And there, I think that's ancient Sanskrit. That's impossible, Sarah said. No human ship has those languages together. That would require... Admiral, the Krell squadron is engaging. Sarah snapped her attention back to the tactical display. 20 Krell ships surrounded the unknown vessel. Weapons charged. They fired as one, a devastating barrage that should have turned any ship into vapor. The mysterious ship's shields flared bright blue. The Krell weapons hit and scattered like rain on stone. Not a single shot got through. Shields holding at 100%, Morrison reported, his voice full of shock. That's impossible. Our best shields would have failed under half that firepower. The unknown ship did not return fire. It just sat there, absorbing the punishment. The Krell fired again and again. Each time the shields held perfectly. Then something changed. Every sensor on the Krell ship suddenly went dark. Sarah could see it on her displays. The Krell squadron went completely blind. Their targeting systems offline, their communications dead. What just happened? Sarah asked. Some kind of electronic warfare attack, Morrison said. But I've never seen anything like it. It's like that ship just reached out and turned off everything electronic in the Krell vessels. The mysterious ship began to move. It glided between the blind Krell ships like a shark among fish. As it passed each one, it fired a single shot, just one. Each shot punched through Krell shields and armor like they were paper. Each shot destroyed a ship completely. In less than 30 seconds, all 20 Krell vessels were drifting debris. Sarah's mouth hung open. The entire bridge had gone silent, everyone staring at the display. One ship had just destroyed a Krell squadron without taking a scratch. One ship had done what Earth's entire fleet could not. Who are they? Morrison asked. Before Sarah could answer, the communications console beeped. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission. It's from the unknown vessel. Put it through. Static filled the speakers. Then a voice came through, speaking English. But the accent was strange. Old-fashioned, like someone from centuries ago trying to speak a modern language. Earth vessel Indomitable, this is the colony ship Exodus. Please respond. Sarah's heart skipped. Colony ship? This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Fleet. Exodus, please identify yourself. What colony are you from? A pause. Then, Admiral Chen, this is Captain Marcus Vale, commanding officer of the Exodus. We departed from Earth 800 years ago. We are coming home. The bridge erupted in confused voices. Morrison turned to Sarah, his face pale. Admiral, 800 years ago there was a colony mission. The first one. But they disappeared. The ship was called the Exodus. It was lost with all hands. 10,000 colonists gone without a trace. Sarah remembered now. Every schoolchild learned about the lost Exodus. It was a tragedy that had haunted humanity for centuries. The first attempt to reach the stars, and it had simply vanished. Captain Vale, Sarah said slowly, if you are who you claim to be, then you need to explain how you survived for 800 years. And how you found your way back, the transmission crackled. It's a long story, Admiral. The short version is that we encountered a spatial anomaly 3 months into our journey. It threw us across the galaxy, thousands of light years from Earth. We tried to find our way home, but we had no maps, no way to navigate. We were alone in unknown space. Sarah listened, hardly breathing. Around the bridge, everyone had stopped working to hear this. We found a planet to settle on. Vale continued, but it was already occupied. The species there were hostile. We fought them off barely. Then we moved on, looking for a safe world. But everywhere we went, we found enemies. Species that attacked on sight. Empires that wanted to enslave us. Pirates who saw us as easy prey. Vale's voice grew harder. For 800 years, Admiral, we have been fighting. Not because we wanted to, but because we had to. We learned to fight better than anyone. We took weapons from the species we defeated. We learned their technologies. We adapted. We survived. How many of you are left? Sarah asked. 50,000. We are all descendants of the original colonists. For 80 generations, we have kept our culture alive. We remembered Earth. We remembered where we came from. Every child born on the Exodus was taught about their home world, even though none of us had ever seen it. Sarah felt tears forming in her eyes. How did you find us? We intercepted Krell communications 3 months ago. They were boasting about their planned invasion of Earth. When we heard that name, we knew we had to act. We traced their route back, pushed our engines beyond safety limits, and came as fast as we could. Vale paused. We may have been gone a long time, Admiral, but Earth is still home, and nobody threatens our home. Sarah looked at the main display, where the Krell fleet still sat in formation, preparing to bombard Earth. Then she looked at the Exodus, this impossible ship crewed by the descendants of people who refused to give up hope. Captain Vale, the Krell have given us an ultimatum. Surrender or die. They have 300 ships. We have less than 20 left. We know, Vale said. We've been monitoring. That's why we came. Admiral Chen, request permission to join your defense fleet. Sarah almost laughed. One ship, even one as powerful as the Exodus, could not stop 300 Krell vessels. But then again, she had just watched that one ship destroy 20 Krell in seconds. Permission granted, Captain.
Welcome home.
Now let's show these bastards what humans can do. Understood, Admiral. Exodus moving to attack position. And Admiral, we brought something for you. Transmitting our combat database now. Everything we learned in 800 years of warfare. Share it with your fleet. You're going to need it. Data flooded into the Indomitable's computers. Morrison's eyes went wide as he scanned it. Admiral, this is incredible. Tactical maneuvers. Weapon modifications. Shield configurations. There are thousands of battle reports here. Strategies against species we've never even heard of. Sarah watched as the Exodus moved to join her fleet. The massive ship positioned itself at the front of the formation, directly between Earth and the Krell. On the Krell flagship, Warlord Thexkar must have been watching. His voice came over the communications channel full of rage. What is this? What primitive trick are you trying? Sarah smiled. For the first time in hours, she smiled. No trick, Warlord. Just some old friends coming home. You wanted to see what humans are made of. You're about to find out. The Krell fleet moved first. Warlord Thexkar had not conquered 17 star systems by hesitating. His ships formed into attack wings, each group targeting different sections of the human defense line. Standard Krell tactics, overwhelming force applied to break the enemy formation. But something was different this time. The Exodus sat at the center of the human fleet, and the combat data it had shared was already being uploaded to every surviving Earth ship. Tactical displays updated with new information. Weapons officers received instructions on Krell weak points that Earth's military had never known existed. Shield operators learned frequency modifications that could deflect Krell plasma fire more effectively. All ships, this is Admiral Chen, Sarah broadcast to the fleet. New tactical data is now in your systems. Study it fast. We're about to put it to use. Morrison, coordinate with Captain Vale. I want our attack synchronized. Yes, ma'am. The first wave of Krell ships came in fast, 40 vessels in tight formation. They had done this 1,000 times before. Overwhelmed the enemy with concentrated fire, break their formation, then pick off the survivors. It had worked against every species they had faced. The Exodus did not move to meet them. Instead, it powered up weapons that Earth's sensors had trouble identifying. The ship seemed to bristle with energy as multiple systems came online at once. Captain Vale is hailing all ships, Morrison reported. Vale's voice came through calm and steady. Earth fleet, when we fire, you fire. Target the ships we mark. Don't waste shots on heavy armor. Aim for the weak points in their shield generators. The data we sent you shows exactly where to hit. Sarah watched the Krell ships close the distance. 5,000 kilometers. 4,000. 3,000. Fire, Vale said. The Exodus unleashed hell. A dozen different weapon types fired at once. Plasma cannons, railguns, energy beams, and weapons Sarah did not recognize. Each shot was perfectly aimed. The Krell shields, which had seemed impenetrable before, collapsed under the precise targeting. Ships exploded or went dark, their systems fried. The Earth fleet fired in sync following the Exodus's lead. Sarah watched as the Beijing's replacement, the New Mumbai, landed shots that punched through a Krell cruiser's shields. The destroyer Wellington, barely holding together, managed to cripple a Krell frigate with a missile strike that hit exactly where Vale's data said it would. The first Krell wave lost half its ships in seconds. The survivors scattered, breaking formation. Impossible, Morrison whispered. We just destroyed 20 Krell ships, in one volley. But there was no time to celebrate. The second wave was already coming, this time with 60 ships. Thexkar had committed more forces, adjusting to the threat. Exodus to Indomitable, Vale's voice came through. Admiral, we're going to do something you've probably never seen before. Don't be alarmed. What are you? The Exodus suddenly accelerated, not the slow burn of conventional engines, but instant speed that defied physics. One moment it was at the center of the formation. The next, it was in the middle of the incoming Krell wave. How is that possible? Morrison shouted. No ship can move like that. The Exodus spun like a dancer, weapons firing in all directions. Krell ships exploded around it. Those that tried to return fire found their shots hitting empty space. The Exodus moved too fast, too unpredictably. It was like watching a wolf in a flock of sheep. Sarah realized what she was seeing. This was not a military vessel designed to fight in formation. This was a survival ship, built to fight alone against overwhelming odds. For 800 years, the Exodus had been outnumbered in every battle. They had learned to fight in ways no formal military would ever develop. All ships, advance, Sarah ordered. Support the Exodus. Use the targeting data. The Earth fleet surged forward. The battle became chaos, ships weaving between each other, weapons fire lighting up space. But now the chaos favored humanity. Every Earth captain was applying centuries of hard-won combat experience thanks to the Exodus's database. Captain Rodriguez on the Valiant managed to predict a Krell maneuver and set an ambush. 3 Krell destroyers flew right into a spread of torpedoes. The Wellington used a tactic from the database called Ghost Drift, shutting down all systems, to look dead, then firing at point-blank range when Krell ships came to investigate. But the Krell were not helpless. They adapted fast, using their numerical advantage to surround individual Earth ships. The carrier Toronto took heavy fire from 5 directions at once. Its shields collapsed, and atmosphere vented from a dozen hull breaches. Toronto is going down, Morrison reported. Exodus responding, someone said. The Exodus appeared next to the Toronto in that impossible instant movement. It positioned itself between the dying carrier and the Krell attackers. The massive ship took fire meant for the Toronto, shields flaring bright. "Captain Vale, your shields are at 60%, Sarah warned. "We've been through worse," Vale responded. His voice was tight but controlled. "Toronto, get your people to the escape pods. We'll cover you." The Toronto's crew abandoned ship while the Exodus held the line. Krell plasma fire hammered the shields again and again. 55%, 50%, 45%. "Vale, pull back," Sarah shouted. "Not yet. Not until every pod is away." Sarah watched helplessly as the Exodus's shields dropped to 40%, then 35%. The ship was taking damage now, armor plates scorching under Krell weapons. Finally, the last escape pod launched from the Toronto. "All clear," Vale said. "Exodus withdrawing." The ship vanished from its position and reappeared near the Indomitable. Sarah could see the damage now. Sections of the hull were blackened. Some weapons ports had been destroyed. But the ship was still fighting. "Damage report," Sarah asked. "Could be worse," Vale said. There was dark humor in his voice. "We once fought a species called the Zarth for 3 days straight without a break. This is nothing." Sarah looked at her tactical display. The battle had been going for 30 minutes. The Krell had lost 70 ships. Earth had lost 3 more vessels, but the Exodus had saved the crews. For the first time, humanity was inflicting more damage than they were taking, but there were still over 200 Krell ships left. Thexkar's voice came over the command channel. "What is that ship? What species builds such a vessel?" Sarah smiled coldly. "That's a human ship, Warlord. The first humans to reach the stars. They've been fighting in the dark for 800 years and they just came home to save their planet. You picked the wrong species to threaten. Impossible. Humans are weak. We studied your military. Your technology is primitive." "You studied Earth's military," Sarah corrected. "You never met the colonists who learned to fight without support, without backup, without mercy. They learned from every species they fought, and now they're going to teach you what it means to threaten humanity." Thexkar's roar of rage came through the speakers. "All ships, focus fire on that unknown vessel. Destroy it. I want nothing left but atoms." The entire Krell fleet turned toward the Exodus. 230 ships, all weapons charging. Enough firepower to glass a planet. Vale's voice came through, still calm. "Admiral Chen, we're about to get hit hard. Request that Earth fleet use this distraction to hit them from the flanks. Use attack pattern Theta from the database." "You'll be destroyed," Sarah protested. "Maybe," Vale said. "But probably not. We've survived worse odds. Trust us, Admiral. We know what we're doing." Sarah looked at Morrison. The young officer looked back at her, waiting for orders. She took a deep breath. "All ships, execute attack pattern Theta. Hit them while they're focused on the Exodus. Make every shot count." The Krell fleet fired as one. A wall of plasma and missiles converged on the Exodus. The massive colony ship's shields flared so bright that Sarah had to look away from the screen. And somehow, impossibly, the shields held. The shields of the Exodus glowed like a small sun under the concentrated fire of 200 Krell warships. Every weapon in the enemy fleet poured destruction into that one point in space. It was enough energy to boil an ocean, crack a moon, burn through any known defensive system. But the Exodus did not break. Its shields bent, flickered, and strained, but they held. Sarah watched numbers scroll across her screen, shield strength dropping, but slowly. 70%, 65%, 60%. The ship was bleeding energy, but it was not dying. "How are they doing that?" Morrison asked in awe. 800 years of learning how to not die, Sarah said. They probably fought species with weapons 10 times worse than what the Krell have. This is just another day for them. While the Krell fleet focused everything on the Exodus, the Earth fleet struck. Following attack pattern Theta from the database, the human ships split into 3 groups and attacked from different angles. The pattern was brutal and efficient, designed by people who had fought countless battles against superior numbers. The destroyer Wellington and 2 frigates hit the Krell left flank. They targeted command ships, the vessels coordinating the fleet movements. Without warning, 3 Krell commanders found their ships exploding around them. The left flank broke formation, ships scattering in confusion. The cruiser New Delhi led the attack on the right flank. They used a maneuver called cascading failure, where they damaged one ship's reactor just enough to make it explode, and the explosion damaged nearby ships. It was a chain reaction tactic that required perfect precision. The New Delhi's crew executed it flawlessly. 7 Krell ships died in a spreading wave of destruction. Sarah took the Indomitable and 4 other ships straight up the middle. The Krell were so focused on the exodus that they left their center weak. Sarah's group punched through like a knife through paper, firing at ship engines and life support systems. Not every shot needed to destroy a ship. Crippling it was enough. "Vale, how are you holding up?" Sarah called. "Shields at 45%. Hull integrity at 80%. We have fires on 3 decks, but damage control has them contained." Vale's voice sounded strained now, but still steady. "Keep hitting them, Admiral. We can take it." The Krell fleet began to realize their mistake. They had bunched up too tightly to attack the Exodus, and now they were vulnerable. Ships crashed into each other, trying to turn and face the Earth fleet. Some Krell commanders panicked and fired at anything that moved, hitting their own vessels as often as human ones. Thexkar's voice roared across all channels. "Fools, maintain formation. Do not break." A missile from the Indomitable struck the Krell flagship's communication array. Thexkar's voice cut off mid-sentence. The Krell fleet lost its coordination completely. "Now," Sarah shouted. "All ships, maximum effort. Hit them while they're confused." The battle turned into a close-range brawl. Ships fired at each other from mere kilometers away. The Exodus, finally given relief as Krell ships turned to face new threats, went on the offensive. It moved through the enemy fleet like a predator, striking and vanishing, reappearing somewhere else to strike again. Its weapons never stopped firing. Sarah saw a Krell battleship trying to ram the Indomitable. She ordered evasive maneuvers, but the Krell ship was too close, too fast. Impact in 3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second, the Exodus appeared between them. The massive colony ship took the ram meant for the Indomitable. The collision tore a huge gash in the Exodus's side. Atmosphere vented into space. Debris flew in all directions. "Vale!" Sarah screamed, no response. The Exodus tumbled from the impact, spinning out of control. The Krell battleship that had rammed it backed away, preparing to fire at point-blank range into the wound it had created. Then the Exodus stopped spinning. Emergency thrusters fired, stabilizing the ship. And from the gash in its side, from the exposed interior where Sarah could see flames and destruction, weapons ports opened. The Exodus fired every gun it had directly into the Krell battleship. At that range, shields meant nothing. The Krell ship came apart like it was made of paper. "Exodus to Indomitable." Vale's voice came through, rough with pain. "We're okay. More or less. Lost 60 people in that section. But we're still in this fight." "Fall back, Captain," Sarah ordered. "You've done enough." "With respect, Admiral, no. We didn't cross the galaxy to hide when things got tough. Besides, these Krell are starting to annoy me." Despite everything, Sarah laughed. It was a short, half-hysterical sound, but it was real. "All ships cover the Exodus. They're damaged but still fighting. Let's show them they're not alone." The Earth fleet rallied around the wounded colony ship. The Valiant, barely operational, positioned itself to shield the Exodus's damaged side. The New Mumbai and Wellington formed a defensive screen. Other ships moved into protective formation without being ordered. They were protecting their own. The Krell tried to press their advantage, but their formation was broken, their communications disrupted, and their commanders were dead or confused. What should have been a coordinated attack became dozens of individual ship actions, each trying to do their own thing. The humans fought as one unified force, protecting each other, coordinating every move. The difference showed. Krell ships kept dying. The Earth fleet took damage, but they adapted, they adjusted, they survived. An hour into the battle, the Krell fleet had lost half its ships. The Earth fleet was down to 11 functional vessels, but those 11 fought like demons. And the Exodus, damaged and scarred, continued to tear through enemy ranks. "Admiral, the Krell are regrouping," Morrison reported. "They're pulling back to the edge of the system." Sarah watched the tactical display. The Krell ships were indeed withdrawing, forming a defensive formation at a safe distance. They had finally realized what they were up against. "Get me Thexkar," Sarah ordered. Their flagship is still damaged, but communications are back online. Routing them through now. The Krell warlord appeared on screen. He looked different now. The arrogance was gone. In its place was something Sarah had never seen in a Krell before. Uncertainty. You cannot win, Thexkar said, but his voice lacked conviction. We still outnumber you. You had 300 ships, Sarah replied. Now you have what, 150? And you've seen what we can do. Every minute you stay here, you lose more ships. You came here expecting easy prey. Instead, you found humans who've been fighting in the dark for 8 centuries, and humans who refuse to let their home burn. She leaned forward, staring directly at the Krell commander. You have a choice, warlord. Keep fighting and lose everything, or retreat and live to report what you learned here today. What's it going to be? Thexkar's 4 eyes studied her. Sarah could see him calculating, weighing options. He had not become a warlord by being stupid. He knew when a battle was lost. This is not over, Thexkar said finally. The Dominion will return. You have made a powerful enemy today. We've had powerful enemies before. Vale's voice cut in. We're still here. They're not. The transmission ended. The Krell fleet began to withdraw, their ships jumping to faster than light speed one by one. In 10 minutes, the space around Earth was clear of enemy vessels. The battle was over. The command channel erupted in cheers. Every ship, every station, every person who had survived the impossible was celebrating. They had faced overwhelming odds and won. Earth was saved. Sarah slumped back in her chair, exhausted. Morrison, casualty report. Morrison's face grew somber. 28 ships lost out of the original 47. Estimated 15,000 casualties in the fleet. But the evacuation procedures saved most of the crews. The Exodus took heavy damage. They're reporting 300 dead, twice that many wounded. 300 people dead. 15,000 total. The numbers felt unreal, too big to truly understand. Sarah closed her eyes, thinking of all the names she would need to remember, all the families she would need to visit. Admiral, Morrison said quietly. We won. Against all odds, we actually won. Sarah opened her eyes and looked at the main display. Earth hung there, safe and whole, and beside it, scarred and damaged but still proudly flying, was the Exodus, the lost colony that had found its way home after 800 years. The wanderers who had returned just in time to save their world. Yes, Sarah said. We won, and we're going to make sure everyone remembers how. 3 days after the battle, the Exodus entered orbit around Earth. The massive ship moved slowly, carefully, like it was afraid to get too close. Sarah watched from the observation deck of the Indomitable as the colony ship found its position and stopped, hanging in space like a mountain made of metal and hope. They're requesting permission to send a shuttle to Earth, Morrison said. Captain Vale and a delegation want to set foot on the planet, Sarah smiled. Permission granted. Tell them to land at Cape Canaveral. That's where they launched from, 800 years ago. It seems fitting they return there. She watched the Exodus for another moment, then made a decision. I'm going down too. I want to be there when they arrive. The shuttle ride down was quiet. Sarah used the time to review damage reports, casualty lists, and repair schedules. Earth's defense fleet was in terrible shape. It would take months to rebuild. But they would rebuild. They were alive to do it. Cape Canaveral was crowded when she arrived. News of the Exodus had spread across the planet in hours. People wanted to see the descendants of the lost colonists. They wanted to meet the heroes who had saved Earth. Security had set up barriers to keep the crowds back, but Sarah could feel the excitement in the air. The Exodus shuttle descended from the sky. It was scarred like the ship it came from, patched and repaired many times over. It landed with a hiss of hydraulics on the same pad where, 800 years ago, the colony ship had launched with dreams of a new world. The shuttle door opened. Captain Marcus Vale stepped out, and Sarah got her first look at the man who had saved her planet. He was tall, lean, with short dark hair turning gray at the temples. His face was lined with scars, and his eyes looked old, like they had seen too much. He wore a uniform that was part military, part improvised armor, nothing like the clean, standard uniforms Earth's military wore. Behind him came more people from the Exodus. Men and women of all ages, some with children. They looked like refugees and warriors at the same time. Hard people who had survived impossible things. They moved with caution, like they expected an attack at any moment, but their eyes were filled with wonder as they looked around. Vale saw Sarah and walked over. He saluted, his hand moving to his heart in a gesture she did not recognize. Admiral Chen, thank you for having us. Sarah returned the salute in the standard Earth military fashion.
Captain Vale, thank you for saving us.
Without your ship, Earth would be dust right now. Vale looked uncomfortable with the praise. We did what any human would do. Protect their home. He turned to look at the sky, then at the ocean beyond the spaceport. I've seen this place in records and videos my whole life. My parents showed me. Their parents showed them. For 80 generations, we kept the memory of Earth alive, but being here standing on actual ground, breathing actual air, his voice broke. I never thought I would live to see this day. Sarah saw tears running down his face. Behind him, other members of the Exodus delegation were crying too, kneeling down to touch the ground, looking around in amazement. These were people who had been born on a ship, lived their entire lives in metal corridors, never knowing what it was like to feel wind or see an open sky. Captain, Sarah said gently, your people are home. For real this time. Vale wiped his eyes and nodded. Home, yes. He took a deep breath, pulling himself together. Admiral, we need to talk. Not just about the battle, but about what comes next. I agree. Let's give your people a few minutes to experience Earth. Then we'll meet with the government. The meeting happened 2 hours later in a conference room that had been hastily prepared. Earth's president, military leaders, and scientific advisors on one side, Captain Vale and his senior officers on the other. Sarah sat between them, trying to bridge 800 years of separation. President Okafor spoke first. Captain Vale, on behalf of Earth and all of humanity, thank you. Your arrival saved billions of lives. We are forever in your debt. Vale shook his head. You owe us nothing, Mr. President. Earth is our home. We were just protecting what is ours. He leaned forward. But I need to be honest with you. The Krell will return. We hurt them badly, but we did not destroy them. They'll report back to their dominion, and next time they'll come with more ships better prepared. How long do we have? Okafor asked. Months, maybe a year. They'll need time to rebuild their fleet and plan, but they will come back. The Krell never forget a defeat. It's a matter of pride for them. The room fell silent. Sarah had expected this, but hearing it confirmed still felt like a weight on her shoulders. Then we prepare, Okafor said. We rebuild our fleet. We fortify our defenses, and this time we'll be ready. It's not enough, Vale said bluntly. Mr. President, with respect, Earth's technology is centuries behind what's out there. Your ships are good for fighting each other, but against real galactic powers like the Krell, you need better weapons, better shields, better everything. Are you offering to help? Sarah asked. Vale looked at her, then around the table at his officers. They nodded. He turned back to the Earth delegation. The Exodus has 50,000 people. We've been maintaining that ship and fighting for 800 years. We know things Earth has not had the chance to learn. We can share that knowledge. Help you upgrade your fleet, train your soldiers, prepare your defenses. In exchange for what? One of the military advisors asked suspiciously. In exchange for a home, Vale said simply. My people are tired, Admiral. We've been wandering the galaxy for 80 generations. We've been fighting for every scrap we have. We want to stop. We want to settle down, raise our children in peace, live normal lives. We're offering everything we know, everything we've learned in exchange for the right to come home. President Okafor did not hesitate. Captain Vale, you and your people are citizens of Earth. You have every right to be here. Your ship launched from this planet 800 years ago. As far as I'm concerned, you never stopped being part of humanity. You don't need to trade knowledge for the right to come home. That right is yours by birth. Vale stared at the president, clearly not expecting that answer. Thank you, sir. That said, Okafor continued with a slight smile. If you're willing to share your knowledge and help us prepare for the Krell's return, we would be grateful. We have a lot to learn from you. The meeting went on for hours, discussing plans and logistics. The Exodus would dock at Earth's orbital shipyards for major repairs. Teams of engineers from both Earth and the Exodus would work together, learning from each other. The combat database would be studied and integrated into Earth's military training. The Exodus colonists would be given the choice to settle on Earth or stay on their ship. As the meeting ended and people filed out, Sarah found herself walking with Vale. What will you do? She asked. After the ship is repaired, will you stay on board or come down to Earth? Vale was quiet for a moment. I don't know, he admitted. Part of me wants to retire, find a quiet place on some beach and never fight again. But another part knows that the Krell are coming back. My people and I were good at fighting. We might be the best fighters humanity has. It would be wrong to waste that when Earth needs defenders. You've done enough, Sarah said. You saved the world.
No one could ask for more. Maybe, Vale said.
But I've been fighting my whole life. I'm not sure I know how to do anything else. He looked at her with those old, tired eyes. What about you, Admiral? What happens now? Sarah thought about that. I rebuild the fleet. I train new crews. I prepare for the next battle. Because you're right, it's coming. And next time, we need to be ready. They reached the observation window that looked out over the ocean. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors of orange and red. Vale stared at it like he was trying to memorize every detail. Beautiful, he whispered. We have sunsets on the ship, simulated ones. But they're nothing like this. Captain, can I ask you something? Sarah said, Of course, and how did you keep going? 800 years of fighting, alone in the dark. How did your people not give up? Vale smiled, a sad but genuine expression. We remembered Earth. Every generation we told our children about the blue planet where humanity was born. About oceans and forests and mountains. About billions of people we'd never met but who were still family. We taught them that someday, somehow, we would find our way home. He turned to look at her. Hope, Admiral. That's how we survived. Hope that one day we would see this view. Sarah nodded, understanding. And now you have. Yes, Vale said. Now we have. And now we'll fight to protect it, not because we have to, but because we choose to, because this is worth fighting for. They stood there in comfortable silence, watching the sunset together, two soldiers from different times united by the same purpose. Behind them, through the building, they could hear the sounds of celebration. Earth was throwing a party for its returned children. The lost colony had come home. Somewhere out in the dark of space, the Krell were regrouping, planning their revenge. Other threats existed too, species and empires that Earth did not even know about yet. The galaxy was a dangerous place, full of enemies and challenges. But humanity had something now it had not had before. Unity. The idealism of Earth combined with the hard-won experience of the Exodus. Knowledge passed down through 80 generations of survivors. And